Hello and welcome to another Webflow community live stream. I'm your host Nelson. Thank you for joining me today. All right, let's see who is in the live chat right now. And I noticed that this is new to me. The Google live chat has like these emojis that float. Okay, I like them. I see hearts and smiles. Awesome. Thank you so much. Peter, welcome back, Peter. Pablo is here. Austin, welcome. Helena, Duncan, and Ashwand. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Welcome. We got Durham, South Africa, and India in the house. Welcome, welcome. And I know Austin, so I know where you are. But yes, welcome and thank you for hanging out with me. Ali is here. Hey to you too. Yeah, I'm really excited for today's stream because it's a trick that I've been using for a while on a couple different projects and client sites. But yeah, Guy, Ridpath, Daniel, hello to you too. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let's get started with what we're doing today. So again, I've used this trick and we're going to be learning how to randomize Webflow CMS items each time the page is loaded. Now, this is different from sorting a collection list through the Webflow UI because the Webflow UI randomly sorts, okay, it does that shuffling, that randomness on published sites, but it only refreshes once every 12 hours. So that's great for websites where you're okay with the refresh happening every 12 hours. But if you need something that refreshes every time the page loads, that's where you'll utilize this trick, which uses low code. All right, so let me show you a demo of where I've done this before. So go to my screen. All right, so first example, bueno.art. This is a cool website that I worked with our friend Pablo Stanley on, and he has a bunch of these NFT designers, and they all use his tool, but he doesn't want to just feature the same ones over and over at the top. He wanted to give them all the same chance to be featured, right? So you want to have equal weight. And so if I refresh this homepage, refresh, there we go. This is different. This is different. They're all different, but they're all coming from a Webflow collection. So he doesn't have to place everything exactly where it is one by one. He just lets low code handle that. And if he needs to add a new one or remove one or edit one, he can just do it through the Webflow Collection Manager or Webflow CMS Editor. So pretty cool. Another example of using this is this. If you've watched the Webflow Conf last year, this is all coming from all these variables for the speed build challenge are coming from a Webflow collection, and every time you refresh, you generate a new prompt, and there you go. So another real world example is newsletter or blog post topics that you want to show off, but you don't want to highlight just one. You want a new one to be highlighted every time the page loads. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. And here's what we'll be going through today. All right. So actually, let me show a demo of what we're going to try to get to today by the end of the stream. All right. So pretty cool. We're going to learn some CSS 3D. We're going to learn some Webflow interactions with the mouse moving over interaction. And then we're also going to add low code to let the cards randomly change on load or refresh. All right, so let's get into our agenda today. All right, so we're going to start with setting up the collection, and then we're going to style the collection list, and then we're going to add some low code to have that shuffling or randomness effect. And then lastly, I'll get to your questions and site reviews at the end, okay? And speaking of questions and site reviews, go ahead and start queuing those up by submitting them at the form that's pinned at the top of the chat. All right. Let's see who else is here. Miguel, Penchel, Mubrak, Penny, welcome. All right. Yeah, I see people excited for this. Penny saying, hello, randomizing is very helpful. Looking forward to see how it can be done. Well, not to worry, because we're going to get started right now. All right, let's go to my screen. Here we go. Brand new Webflow project. There's no styles. There's no elements. It's just blank. All right. So first thing we're going to do is create our collection. So CMS, create new collection, and let's just call these random cards. Whatever you want to name them, random cards. And each card will have a name, and we'll also add an image. And we're done. That's it. Cool. Let's go ahead and populate this collection, add 20 sample items. And there we go. That's done so fast. All right. So we have the name, and each one has a different image. All right. Different stock photo. Cool. We are done with that. So I'm going to click out of our collections manager. Right there. All right. So first part, tick, done. All right. Varun says he's excited. So or they are excited. So I'm glad. But we're already on the next step. All right. So next step, let's make a layout. Let's make a basic layout. Or better yet, let's have a pre-built layout. So I'm going to go here under Add Elements panel, go to Layouts, open up my starter library, and I'm going to choose this team circle. And all I have to do is click it once. We have a layout. That easy, all right? So we didn't really have to do much CSS. We don't have to do much styling. Everything's done for us. So let's call this random cards using the Webflow UI. Okay, so all of these right here, all of these elements is static. It's not being pulled from the Webflow collection. None of these elements are bound to the data from the Webflow collection, but we're going to use this layout inside of a collection list. So here's how we do it. So I'm going to go Add Elements panel right here. Scroll down to, scrolling too fast. There we go. Scroll to collection list, and I'm going to drag that right above the team grid. And now this collection list wrapper is asking, hey, where do you want to pull data from? Well, we want to pull data from random cards, which is our only collection in this project. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And there we go. So now I want to use the team grid styles on this collection list. All right. So I have the 3-column grid. Okay. So on collection list, all I have to do is use the same class name. It's called team grid. And if I scroll up, there we go. We already have our 3 columns, and it's already responsive because it's a pre-built layout. All right. Now let's go ahead and this team card, I'm going to copy it, Command C or Control C on Windows. And then inside of the collection item, I'm going to paste it. All right. And it may look like I did nothing, but I assure you I did something. All right. So let's go ahead and bind these elements to the collection data. All right. So I'm going to double click on this image, and I'm going to choose Get Image from Image. And there we go. All of the images are being pulled from the collection. Let's do the same thing with name. Instead of double clicking, I'm going to click on the little mini settings box right here. Click on that. And now it's asking, where do I want to get text from? Well, I want to get from the random cards collection and want to pull the name. And there we go. Now all the names are dynamic. Now you don't need the position or the paragraph, so I'm just going to delete both. And there you go. So if I scroll down, I have all 20 items in there. But if you see here, these are static ones, so I don't need it anymore. So I can take this team grid and delete it, and there we go. All right, so we've styled our collection list. So let's go ahead and filter it using the Webflow UI, or sort it using the Webflow UI. All right, so I'm going to go to the settings panel at the top right, and then right here under sort order, there we go. Under sort order, I'm going to choose random order. Okay, so I'm going to click random order, save, and now it's all random. And if I publish it, it'll get even more random. So we see the hot air balloons are first. Oh, it switched again. Okay, the fox is first. So I'm going to look at that. All right, so the fox is not first. So it's even random here. All right, where's the fox? Ah, there it is. So it's all random on publish. Okay, so if I were to refresh this now, nothing's happening. You hear me? You hear the keyboard? Yeah. So nothing's happening. Okay, because it will refresh every 12 hours. So again, this is good if you don't need it to refresh every page load. Okay, but let's go ahead and do a version of this with low code. Okay, so already on our next step, adding low code to this. Let's go back to my screen. We're going to add low code. Let's go ahead and create a new page and call this Randomize with low code. Okay, so what I did was I copied that whole section and now I'm pasting it. All right, so I copied that whole section, the team circles, and paste it here on this new page. And I'm going to change this with using the shuffle. The low code shuffle sounds like a dance. The low code shuffle. So I'll make a song about it. Or ask GPT to chat GPT to make a song about the low code shuffle. See what we come up with. All right. All right. So here we don't want Webflow to do the random shuffle. So we're going to delete that. And we're back to the default sort order, which is newest to oldest. And let's go ahead and name each collection item random dash card. Okay, so what we're going to do is have this piece of low code take all of the random cards, which is all these collection items, all the random cards, and just like a deck of cards, shuffle it and then place them back, deal them back onto the table. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Let me get the code real quick. I already have it here. Okay, and I'm going to place it in here. And again, you can duplicate, you can clone this page, you can clone this project, and you'll already have the code. And so you can play around with it and dissect it yourself. All right? All right, so we have Aaron who's moderating today. Low code at my feet, shuffle through lines with ease, solutions abound. Okay, nice. Gucci Dragons, will this randomize on every page load? Yep, this is what we're doing. You came at the right time. So this is the code that makes it shuffle for you. All right, so this code right here, I'm not going to explain it all. Just know that this function will start a shuffle by getting all the elements that you give the class name to. So you're giving this function, hey, find all the items, all the elements with this same class name, and then find out how many there are. And then do some math and randomize it. So say if there's 20 items, go ahead and 20 and then shuffle them around, do the whole shuffling thing, and then place them back to where they were thing. So put them back on the table. Just think about like a card dealer. You're shuffling and then you put them in the on the table. Okay? And so this part right here, this is, hey, shuffle function. This is the element. This is the class name that I want you to shuffle. All right? So, oh, my camera. There we go. Hey, code, this is the class name I want you to shuffle. All right, random dash card. So make sure that this is the same thing as your collection item inside on the page. So random dash card is what I named this. And so if I publish, there we go. Let's go to the page. And there we go. So there you go, Gucci. And again, I'll have it in the YouTube description at the end of the stream where you can clone this and you can take the code and do whatever you want with it. But there you go. All right. Now let's take it a step further. All right. So I want to achieve random cards in a 3D space while moving my mouse. All right. So here, let's go ahead and learn some CSS 3D and the mouse move interaction trigger, and then adding the low code to make all of these cards random. All right. So it's kind of like what I did with Bueno, but without the 3D. I had to place all these cards in different areas based on the design they had. And so, as you can tell, you can't make a collection grid or even Flexbox make this type of layout. You have to place it in a different way. So let me show you how I was able to achieve something like that. Okay, let's go ahead and make a new page. All right, so if you've never done CSS, let's call this floating cards. So if you've never used Webflow interaction mouse movement or rotating in a 3D space or CSS 3D, this is the time you should listen up because this is going to be fun. All right. So let's go ahead and start playing around. Look at it. I'm going to add a section. There we go. So we have a section. And what I did, that hotkey was Command or Control E. And then I typed in a section and press Enter. It's the same thing as going to add elements panel and dragging in a section, but if you're more of like a developer and don't want to use your mouse, there you go. All right, for the height, let's go ahead and I'm going to set the min height to 100 VH, which is 100% viewport height. All right. And now let's go ahead. Let's see here. Let's add a background color. And we're going to do radial gradient, but it's going to start at the top. Right, and let's start this as like a dark blue, and let's end with a darkish black like that. Again, I'm just playing around. You can do whatever you want. This is your world. All right, cool. We'll do something like that. All right. Now in this section, let's go ahead and add a... Oops, I don't want to reload my page. There we go. Command E. Command E, div, and let's go ahead and give this 100 VW, so it's the full width, and 100 VH with the full height. Okay. And in the middle of it, we're going to have our an H1 that says, doesn't say bad gateway, but it says heading. There we go. Green check mark. All right, so we have a heading, and we're going to call this heading random cards. Okay. Now, I want this random cards to be in the center, and because the heading right here is a child of div block, I'm going to use the power of Flexbox to center it. So all we have to do is click on Flexbox right here, and then say I want it centered vertically and centered horizontally, and there we go. We have the absolute center of the page. Let's change the font to Montserrat because I like that one better than Arial. And color white. So now we can see the text. Okay, cool. All right, so we have our random cards. Let's go ahead and start moving this in a 3D space. Let's just get straight into CSS 3D before we get into the cards. All right, so let's see here. Let's see here. Thinking, okay. So for this section right here, I need to enable 3D on its child elements. So what I need to do is say, hey, parent section, 2D and 3D transforms. I'm going to click on the 3 dots. I'm going to say all your children should have a distance, a perspective of 1,000 pixels. Now what this means, and there's a better explanation on Webflow University, but it's just like pulling back the camera from your screen. So if your screen is okay, so if my screen's here and I'm like all the way on it, so I'm gonna say pull back the camera 1,000 pixels. Okay, there. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. So there we go, child perspective. So we've enabled 3D-ness to it. Now let's go ahead and go to interactions while section is still selected. And then we're going to do the mouse move over element. And we're going to add a new action and play mouse animation. And then we're going to create a new one. All right. All right. Now here, we need to explain some stuff. Mouse X and mouse Y. And we want to rotate on the X and Y axis. Now, it may seem a bit backwards to you, but let me explain the concept, okay? So I'm going to try something new I've never done on these streams before. I'm going to push back my keyboard and hi! Hello, friends. Hello, spaceman. Spaceman. All right, so class time. Here we go. We're going to actually, let's fold this paper in 4s. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can do this at home too. Okay. Just need one piece of paper. All right, we have 4 quadrants. Pretend this is our screen, okay? And so we have 4 quadrants. Let's go ahead and there we go. Cool. So up and down. Oh, let me get a different color. Up and down is going to be Y. That's our Y axis. Left and right, or horizontal, is going to be our X axis. Can you all see that? Cool. So X 0% on a screen is over here. 0% right here. 100% is all the way to the other side, all the way to the right. Whereas Y is 0% at the top and 100% at the bottom. Okay? So I don't think you can see the green marker as much. Let me rewrite it. There we go. Is that better? Yeah, it's much better. 0%. Okay, cool. Sloppy handwriting, but that's how I write. Okay, so X and Y. Now we got to think of this piece of paper in a 3D space. Oh, there we go. So this piece of paper is in a 3D space. Now, if we want to rotate something, so imagine Spaceman is the mouse pointer. If the mouse pointer is all the way at the top where Y is equal to 0, we're going to move the paper down this way. Okay, we're going to move the paper down this way. So that means it's like we're folding the paper down on the X-axis. Okay, now if Spaceman is all the way down here at 100% on the Y, we have to move it the opposite direction on the X. Hence why you have to think backwards. So again, if Spaceman is on the 0% of the X, you're not rotating on the X, you're rotating on the Y. So it's like you're flipping a paper. Okay? Yes. This is not physics. This is 3. Oh my gosh, physics would be too much for me. So when you rotate on the Y, you're actually doing it on the X. If you rotate on the X, you're actually doing it on the Y. Okay, so think of CSS 3D as a piece of paper when you're doing rotations. Okay, so let me show you this in practice. And that was fun using a new camera. Okay, so let's target our div block. So our div block is the piece of paper we were just playing around with. So mouse X 0%. I'm going to rotate. Now 0% means I'm on the very left. And so I'm going to rotate on the X. No, I'm going to rotate on the Y, which is the opposite. So let's go ahead and rotate it this way. And there we go. So we're going to do negative 40 degrees down here. And then we just do the opposite on 100%. We'll do 40 degrees positive right there. And so if we preview, There we go. So again, the piece of paper is moving. The spaceman is moving around, and he's adding weight to one side. Now let's do the other one. Let's do the y-axis. We're gonna rotate on the x. So I think this is positive. Yeah, I think so. So we're gonna do positive 40. Let's do positive 40, and then right here, negative 40. And let's see if we did it right. Yep, there we go. So now it always looks like the title, random cards, is looking at my mouse. So there you go. All right, CSS 3D. Whee! All right. Hopefully in the future we'll have more excuses to play with Lego bricks. I mean, this was a Lego Duplo. But yeah, we'll have more excuses. Help me come up with excuses. All right. Let's go. Here we go. So we're done with that. Now let's go ahead and add our random cards. Okay. So for this random cards, we want them to float. And usually with CSS, we use floating with position relative, absolute, or fixed. But for the cards that we have right now, we're just going to use position absolute. But if they're absolute, they need to be relative to something. So this div block will be the direct relative for the floating cards. So position relative. Okay. Let's go ahead and add our first card. Div, and we'll call it floating card. Okay. And each floating card, let's style it a bit. We're going to give it a background color of white, a border radius of 5, and let's give a padding of 8. Okay, and then inside of each floating card will be an image. And let's call this card image. And let's give it a width and height of 150 by 150. Fill is cover. And let's give it a border radius of 3. All right. So it kind of looks like, it looks like this. A nice card right there. All right. We're not going to choose the image because we're going to bind this image element to the collection list items. All right. Cool. And Sean, that was cool. I'm glad you like that. Star, I'm glad you like the physics. It's not the non-physics lesson. Okay, so let's go ahead and we have floating card. What else do we want to do with it? Oh, we need to make it float. So we have to use position absolute. All right, there we go. So we have position absolute. Oh, and also let's make sure that random cards is not behind the cards. So we need to set the heading to position relative, so that way we unlock the Z index. And I want to set this Z index to like 10. And what that means is it pushes it above other floating elements. All right. So there we go. All right. So we have this first floating card. And let's go ahead and make 4 other floating cards. So I'm going to copy and then paste. 1, 2. Hello? Okay. Maybe I can duplicate. There we go. There we go. All right, so I have 5 floating cards. I just copy and pasted it, or you can right-click duplicate. Yeah, so I have 4 floating cards, and they're all stacked on top of each other because of position absolute. All right, but now we're going to use our combo class so that we can move each in different areas. So we're going to give this a combo class of 1, floating card 1. I'm going to push it to the top right. Let's put it in a random spot. Everything's random today. Floating card 2, we'll put it at the top. Oh, I said top right here. I'm at top left. This one's top right. And let's push it somewhere. Okay, cool. Bottom left. Put it right here. And then 4. Whoop. There we go. And then 5. We'll just we'll just put it right. Yeah, let's put it right here. cool? All right, so if I preview, we have that 3D stuff happening. But I want to make it even more 3D, okay? I want to have each card being pushed back further and further and getting smaller and smaller. So let's take it a deep further. So for floating card 1, let's say the opacity is set to 70. And we'll set the blurriness to be 1. And then floating card 2, we'll set the opacity to be 60 because it's further back. And filter, we're going to blur it 2 pixels and so on. So 350, filter 3 pixels, 4, 40, and then 4 pixels. And then lastly, 5, we'll have 30 and 5 on the blur. Let's preview. No, we need to get even more 3D. Let's push them back even further, okay? So now we're going to use, let's see here. Let's use, let's move it in the Z. So this one, I'm going to say negative 30 pixels. So I'm pushing this back, right? I don't think you can be able to see that. Hold on. I think div block needs a child perspective too. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this div block, this parent needs a children perspective, so that way we can see the move in 3D space. See, that's what I mean. So let's start with negative 30. And then right here is, let's go by 30s. So negative 60, right? Negative 90. Let's add one here, negative 120. And lastly, negative 150. And let's see this. There we go. Now we have 3D. Webflow superpowers right here. Exactly. Exactly. You know what's up, Isabel. Oh, yes. Cool. 3D. All right. And now let's just put some cards in there. Let's put some random cards. So we're going to use the same type of idea that we had on the second page right here. We're just going to get the collection list. And we're going to paste it here. So we have the collection list here, but we only need the images. So let's go ahead and just move this image outside of the team card, and we don't need the team card or the team name, and we're just going to leave it as random card. Okay. All right. And let's see here, random card, and I want to put it in here. So let's call this card image. So I'm going to take this, remove the class name, and call it card image because I want it to be that same size and border radius. Okay, so there we go. We have random card. And so what I want the code to do is, hey, I want you to shuffle through these random cards, and then I want you to copy and paste it into each of these floating cards. All right. Now, how we're going to do this is we have to name each of these floating cards. So this is the trick that I used, all right? So this floating card right here, I'm going to go to the ID right here, and I'm going to give it a name of C1 or card 1, okay? And this one, C2, and make sure you don't have the same name for all of your destinations for your cards. All right? So there we go. So I have C1 through C5. And so what what the code is going to say is shuffle it, and then after you're shuffling it, copy and paste the first one and paste it, copy it, the first one and paste it into C1. Copy the second one and paste it into C2, and so on and so on. All right? So let's go ahead and get the code, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's go ahead and paste the code. All right. So this is our shuffling script, okay? And again, thank you to Stack Overflow for this. And then this is our, let me get out of there. Okay, and then this is, we're gonna say, is it random card or random? Yeah, we're gonna tell that function, hey, find all the elements that have a class name of random card and shuffle it. Okay, dealer, shuffle the cards and then place them back in the table. Cool. It's done that. And now I have card number, right? And then this is random card. Okay, cool. So here I'm saying, hey computer, there's a new memory there's a new thing I want you to remember. I want you to remember the card number. And the card number currently is 0. And then the computer's like, cool. Now what do you want me to do? Well, I want you to find all the elements that are called random card. And for each of them, do something. That's what this means. And so it says, okay, I want you to do some math. Simple math. And the math is 0, because that's what this is. 0 plus 1 equals 1. And so take this, which is this random card. So the random card that you're on, I want you to pen to, or copy paste to C, the ID of C, and then whatever card number is. So 1 plus 0 equals 1. So C1. And then it does that loop again. And so it says find random card. And so card number at this point is 1 because we did a loop. So 1 plus 1 equals 2. And so on and so on and so on. And so that's how the copy paste happens. And so I'm going to save changes. I'm going to hide this because we don't want to show that collection list. I'm going to publish, and there we go. And let's see if it works. And if it doesn't, well, we can always... Oh, I have to delete the placeholders. Let me delete the placeholders. There we go. Now they look like little stars. That's cute. Refresh. That's not it. There we go. Yay! We did it, everyone. We did it. And we still have 23 minutes for your questions and answers. So, and site reviews. So yeah, so we've learned collections, collection lists, sorting randomly using Webflow UI. We've also learned how to add low code to do the shuffling, the dealer shuffling the cards and then putting them back in the table. And then we've also learned CSS 3D thanks to this new nifty camera. Cool. And then we've learned how to add random cards into that 3D-ness. So, yay! It's time for your questions, all right? Really excited to see the questions. So here we go. First one. Walter, will we be able to reorder CMS items manually with a simple drag and drop like we can reorder pages? Let's see here. Webflow Marketplace CMS reorder. I know, yep. Reorder wait, I'm looking for it. Someone did it already. Webflow Marketplace apps. Where are you? There we go. Nope, I'm looking for it. Hold on. Where is it? I'm looking. It should be in the Webflow apps marketplace. So let me put it in chat, the link to chat where I'm searching. And if I find it, but yeah, someone made a reordering. I forgot who. Yeah, if anyone knows, put a link in chat because I'm looking for it right now. But yeah, there is a way with a approved app someone made. Okay. But yeah, sorry I couldn't find the link. But once I do, I'll definitely put a link in the YouTube description or post it in the Webflow discourse forums. All right. Thank you, Walter. Next, Gucci Dragons. Could we use this to randomize a featured blog post on a page? Yes, you totally can. If you can just imagine these cards let me go to my screen. If you can imagine these cards, right? And like these three, well, just imagine. Actually, let me go here. So imagine the first three are actually the featured ones, right? So these are your featured blog posts. And so if I publish and then someone comes to the site and was like, oh, okay, oh, these are the featured blog posts. Whereas you have the other ones below. Yeah, you can totally use this. Yeah, great question. All right, next one. I'm going through these quickly. Yeah, and again, if you have any questions, submit it through the form, or submit your sites that you want me to review. I love looking at all the content that this community creates, all the content, all the websites you all design. It's amazing. It's amazing to me. Mubarak is asking, if we make the cards in an HTML embed, could we use CMS fields to randomize the positions of the cards on load? If we make the cards in an HTML embed, yes, yeah, you can. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of a use case why you would have an HTML embed instead of using like a grid or something. But again, this shuffle code will shuffle everything and put all the elements back to where they were. So try it out. You just need to target the name of the elements that you want to shuffle. So it takes all the elements, shuffles them, and puts them back like a dealer. All right. Cool. And it looks like those are all the questions we have. Like I'll give you all some time to, if you have any other questions. Good job. Good job today. Spaceman. All right. Yeah, no further questions or site reviews. Well, thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. It was fun to come up with, fun to teach. I really love teaching in a different way. So let's go ahead and go through our outro. Again, you all are wonderful, but if you need more help, if you need further support from the Webflow support team, go ahead and go to support.webflow.com, or if you want to learn more about Webflow, if you want to take a course, all the courses are free, all the materials are free. We love creating them for you all. Go to university.webflow.com. Maybe take Ryan Reynolds' course and see where you go with that, the landing page generator, ryanscourse.com. Right, and also you can find us on the social medias. But yeah, that's it for this stream. You will for next week's stream, we'll have Aaron back teaching you more on the workflow series, on how to automate stuff. But yeah, that's it. Again, my name is Nelson Abalos Jr. And if you're in the live stream chat, or if you're watching recording, we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for making the web beautiful. See ya.